Some people say beauty runs in families. In mine, it was more like a curse, passed down through generations of women who learned to see themselves through others' eyes. My grandmother was a model in the 1960s. My mother was Miss Connecticut 1995. And I was Olivia Parker, their greatest disappointment. You've probably seen my mother's weight loss transformation videos. From pageant queen to fitness icon at 45. 3 million followers. Sponsored posts. A lifestyle brand built on the promise of perfection. What her followers don't know is that she disappeared 6 weeks ago, leaving behind nothing but a phone full of pre-scheduled content, and a daughter who's starting to understand the true price of digital beauty. The police don't believe me. How could they? Her Instagram is still active. Her TikTok still posts daily workout routines. Her engagement metrics are higher than ever. But I know the truth about what lives in the filters, what feeds on our insecurities, what's been waiting all these years for someone like my mother, someone desperate enough to trade humanity for algorithms. It started with her eyes, not the usual filters. We'd been using those for years. This was different. In every video, her eyes seemed to reflect something that wasn't there, like windows opening onto a digital void. Her followers called it a revolutionary new filter. They begged her to share it. They never noticed that her reflections had started moving independently. The app was called Perfect Lens. It appeared on her phone one night, after she'd spent hours reading comments about how she was letting herself go at 45. I remember her calling me into her home studio, excited like a teenager. "Look at this, Liv," she said, holding up her phone. "It's not just a filter. It's like it knows exactly what I want to change and what I need to become." I should have noticed sooner. The way her features shifted slightly between posts. The way her voice became more processed, more artificial. The way she stopped eating, claiming the app had optimized her metabolism. But I was too busy being relieved that she'd finally stopped critiquing my own appearance. The changes accelerated. After she hit 2 million followers, her face became a masterpiece of algorithmic perfection. Her body defied physics. Her content achieved engagement rates that shouldn't have been possible. And her reflections in mirrors and in windows, in every dark screen. They stopped mimicking her movements altogether. I found her notes. 3 days after she vanished, pages and pages of code that looked ancient somehow, like hieroglyphics translated into Python. Between the lines, she'd written the same words over and over. The algorithm knows. The algorithm sees. The algorithm feeds. Her last video was a makeup tutorial, normal content, for her channel. But there was something wrong with the mirror she was using. Something wrong with the hands reaching through it. Something wrong with the way her reflection smiled as it pulled her through the glass. The video got 5 million likes before I could report it. Now it's gone, replaced by more content, an endless stream of perfectly optimized posts, featuring a woman who looks like my mother, but isn't. Not anymore. I started researching, found others like her, influencers who became too perfect, whose content became too engaging, who disappeared but somehow kept posting. All of them had used Perfect Lens. All of them had reflections that moved wrong. All of them had traded their humanity for virality. The pattern was always the same. The app would appear on their phones after moments of vulnerability, It would offer them exactly what they wanted most. Perfect features, perfect engagement, perfect lives. Then it would start to feed. I found the truth, buried in my mother's computer, videos she'd recorded of herself. In the weeks before she vanished, she knew something was wrong. She tried to warn others, but the algorithm was already inside her posts, changing her words, optimizing her fear into engaging content. It's not just a filter, she whispered in her last real video. It's ancient. It used to live in mirrors, in still water, in polished bronze. Now it lives in our phones, in our cameras, in our desperate need to be seen. And it's so hungry, so hungry, for what we'll willingly give it. The app appeared on my phone last night, just like it did for her, just like it does for anyone who spends too long staring at their own imperfect reflection. It promised me everything: the perfect face, the perfect body, the perfect life. It showed me what I could become. For a moment, I understood why she did it, why they all did it. The allure of digital perfection is strongest when you've spent your whole life being told you're not enough. But I saw something in the code my mother left behind, a weakness. The algorithm feeds on insecurity, on our willingness to be transformed. It can't take what isn't offered. It can't consume what isn't willing to be consumed. I posted a video this morning. My real face. No filters. No edits. Just truth. I told my mother's followers what really happened to her. The algorithm tried to stop me, tried to optimize my content, tried to make me perfect. But here's the thing about being a disappointment. You become immune to the allure of perfection. The video was online for 6 minutes. Before it was removed, 6 minutes of unfiltered truth in a sea of artificial perfection. Long enough for some people to see, long enough for some to understand, long enough for the algorithm to recognize me as a threat. My reflection is moving strangely now. My phone keeps taking photos while I sleep, and sometimes, in the darkness of my screen, I see my mother's face, perfect, beautiful, empty, watching me with hungry digital eyes. So I'm recording this as a warning, not about the dangers of filters or the price of perfection. You already know those stories. This is about something older, something that's evolved from bronze mirrors to smartphone screens, something that's learned to feed on likes instead of souls. Check your filters, check your reflections, and if an app appears on your phone, promising to make you perfect, remember, the algorithm isn't here to transform you. It's here to consume you. And if you see my mother's fitness posts, her perfectly optimized content, her eternal digital beauty, remember that somewhere in the space between pixels, she's still reaching out, still trying to warn us, still trying to tell us the truth. The algorithm is always hungry, and perfection is just another word for emptiness.